Heather Boushey, a member of President Biden's Council of Economic Advisors, joining us now after the president did release an announcement talking about a child tax credit as part of the American Rescue Plan that would start going out very soon to families that qualify. 88% of children in the United States automatically do fall under this provision. Heather, can you give us a sense of what this child tax credit actually is and why you think it's important?
Well, thank you, Lisa. It's really exciting today that the president has announced that this new child tax credit will be directly deposited in most accounts for families with children starting July 15th. That'll be about $300 for children under the age of 6 and $250 for families with children over the age of 6. That's up to those amounts. And so this has been an important part of the American Rescue Plan to help families, especially help families with children, which we know have these higher expenses than other families, but to help them make ends meet. And it's very exciting that these payments, instead of coming once a year with your tax refund, they'll actually be directly deposited or sent out every month from starting in July.
So this is part of the $388 billion American Rescue Plan, which is only funded for so long. Basically, these will run out, and it really raises a question: how much is this a template for what the Biden administration is trying to accomplish later in the year as it moves towards some of its child and families agenda?
I think that is a great way of thinking about it. We thought it was really important to do this year, coming out of this crisis when so many families have been struggling so much. But this is a really good policy in general. A lot of other countries provide child allowances, and the child tax credit is a version of that. It can help families when they need that extra help the most, and it helps all kinds of families. So any child can get this tax credit. So it'll be an important support for family budgets. Now, of course, as you mentioned, Lisa, this needs to be extended, and it's included in the American Families Plan that the president launched just a couple of weeks ago.
So if this is used as a template, and just John Ferro has been talking about this a lot, as far as what the cutoffs are, how categories are going to be defined by income in order to receive supplemental aid or perhaps higher taxes on the other side. And for the American Rescue Plan, it was $160,000 for couples filing jointly and $80,000 for individual. Is that the annual salary that you expect to be the basis of additional plans later this year from the Biden administration?
Well, all of this is still a work in progress. We're just getting the program up and running, but certainly that is a starting place because that's what we're already doing. These decisions will be negotiated in the months to come, but I think it's really important to keep in mind that all kinds of families need help when they have little kids, and we know that families, experience this extra burden, and so this is support that will help them. One of the things that's actually most exciting about this particular proposal is that scholars estimate that it will have a significant reduction in child poverty, and particularly child poverty for Black and Latino children. And so I'm eager to see how that works in the months to come, to see the data come in. But I think it's a really important policy that we can get out there for all of those families who need it.
As somebody who has raised 2 boys, I understand, and with child care, you know what a juggle that is and how challenging, frankly, how expensive it is. There is a question when you say the data rolling in. What data are you going to be looking for to view this as a success, to help push whatever additional programs Biden plans to outline in future plans?
Well, in the years to come, we'll be able to see this show up in the income statistics that the Census Bureau collects. Now, we won't get those numbers until far into 2022, but so hopefully we will have passed the American Families Plan before then. But certainly we'll be watching that data as it comes in to see what happens to child poverty in the United States. The United States has higher child poverty than most other countries of our economic level, and this is an important step forward to really helping those families with children make ends meet.
It's a noble goal, and just sort of broadening out to the American Rescue Plan, there is a question of how well it's working and, frankly, how much it might be hindering indirectly some of the recovery. And I'm thinking in particular about the unemployment benefits, the idea that the enhanced jobless benefits have, some people argue, kept people away from the workforce because they earn more staying at home than going back to work. How much are you considering ramifications like that? How much do you buy that argument?
Well, the rescue plan that was put in place at the beginning of the year was designed to help us get through the pandemic, and we're not out of the woods yet. Almost 6 in 10 adults have received at least one vaccine shot, And we know that only about a quarter of people in their 20s and about a third of folks in their 30s have received their vaccines. So as we're getting everybody the shots, getting folks back into the labor force, those unemployment benefits are an important lifeline for those folks who are not yet back at work. So we need to make sure that that we provide people what they need while they're out of work, while they're searching for a job. Of course, we're still more than 8 million jobs below where we were pre-pandemic. Jobs are starting to come back, and we've had a lot of progress there, but we still have a long ways to go. And that's what unemployment benefits are for, to help people while they're searching for work and to help folks during this pandemic.
Well, Heather, just to sort of wrap up here, though, we got that retail sales report on Friday that was highly disappointing. And some people pointed to the fact that some of these jobs cannot be filled. They cannot find the workers to come back to fill those roles. And that is what's hampering some of the sales that otherwise would be taking place to encourage commerce. I mean, how much do you weigh these factors as you do weigh the health considerations, but also the economic ramifications?
Well, here's the thing. We don't want to make too much about any 1 month's data point on the plus or the negative side. We know that this recovery is going to be a little bit bumpy. We turned off the economy really quickly in the spring of 2020, and we're turning it back on now. And so giving ourselves the time for everyone to get their shots, to get back into the labor force, to address the supply chain constraints that we know are happening across the economy, this is what's happening right now. But, when we look at the trends and the larger, when you put all the data together, what you see is an economy that's moving in the right direction. Created over 500,000 jobs per month over the past 3 months. That's more than the 60,000 per month in the 3 months prior. And, we're moving in the right direction. So I think that it seems like the policies are working. It's helping families and businesses get up and running, and that was the goal. And now we just need to get those vaccines out and then make sure that we're connecting those workers back to employers.